Good morning, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Comedy Luxembourg's finest metal podcast. Today, me again, Jill, your host for today, and honestly, I was quite struggling finding new ideas, even though the metal genre is like a bottomless pit anyway. There's so much to discover. But anyway, I finally decided to go with another uncovered episode in English again today. And as some of you might know, I personally, or let's say my metal upbringing began quite early, and later on I got dragged into this whole metalcore era, like mid 2000s until 2010s and stuff. So yeah, honestly, I consider myself like an OG metalcore kid. So and honestly, I think we had quite a lot of metalcore bands in the late and obviously early 2000s, like band like All That Remains, who are, by the way, making a comeback now. So that's really awesome to me. I got really emotional hearing the latest song. Just saying. We had Killswitch Engage, All That Remains again. Heaven Shall Burn, CALLEJON, As I Lay Dying. There were quite a lot of good and consistent metalcore bands. And there was one German metalcore band that really got into me very early on. They are from Düsseldorf, Germany. A band called CALLEJON. Funnily enough, it's a German band with a Spanish name. CALLEJON means basically dead end, translated. And I discovered them quite early on. I'm being honest here. I checked a bit of their really super early stuff, like their EPs and stuff, like the Chronos EP. That was like very early emo, screamo, core stuff. And obviously not that greatly produced because they were still unsigned and everything. But there was this one EP, let's call it an EP because it's very short in runtime, but it had some really cool ideas, and the EP was called Willkommen im Beerdigungscafé, which basically means, translated, Welcome to the Funeral Cafe. And wow, there were some seriously killer songs, even though they were like 2 minutes and 50, well, not even 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. I don't know, giving like homage to the Masters of the Universe, for example, in a very funny yet typical metalcore way back in the day. And that record was good, but I was not really getting the whole spectrum of emotions because they were quite young back then, and I think the famously called red line of where do we go now was not defined or not refined, more to speak. And a few years later, after that famous EP Willkommen im Beerdigungscafé, they then dropped a record that seriously got me hooked onto this band until today, over 20 years in existence already. A record, funnily enough, called Zombie Action Hauptquartier, which means Zombie Action Headquarters. And I really like the aspect of this. It's funnily enough, to me, it resonated a lot with Resident Evil back in the day. Sounds funny, yes, I know. But it had some really cool elements, the whole atmospheric level and the whole approach to doing metalcore. Firstly, German-speaking metalcore. So I maybe forgot to say that early on, but they sing in German, which back in the day not many bands were doing. I mean, the most famous one, let's be honest here, is still Rammstein, right? Who do their thing. And I never got into Rammstein, to be fair. Just opening another small side note here. But honestly, the sound that CALLEJON did on Zombie Action Hauptquartier was freakingly good to me. It stood out of the whole metalcore spectrum back in the days. It was way more emo kind of, and very interesting sound textures. And I mean, the first song that I discovered from this famous record was like a heavy metalcore ballad called Phantomschmerz, Phantom Pain translated. And I think until this day is one of my favorite songs of this band, and remains very high in my appreciation. So, and then I thought, yeah, let's see where these people go. Let's see what they will do. I was lucky enough to see them a few years after they dropped Zombie Action Hauptquartier. But I think the record that defined my metalcore era, honestly, was their second record, which is very often the case with metal bands in general. Is the first record is good, the second one just breaks the law and everything, and is just a masterpiece. I don't know why the formula basically is usually always the same. It's you do one record, it's good, we know what we want to do. It's not refined, but it's not perfect, let's say. But then again, some people might ask, does it have to be perfect? And I will tell you that the 2010 record named Videodrome, in my eyes, is metalcore perfection to this day and remains one of my most favorite records of all time. Funnily enough, the record was named after the David Cronenberg movie of the same name, and it has the same weirdness going on and the same fucked up mind stuff that the movie portrays. They just took a shit ton of inspiration from there and dumped that into the songwriting and into the atmosphere, and it's amazing. It's just so good. It's just super banger songs like Kinder der Nacht or Gott ist tot, God is dead. I mean, that's the statement, right? Especially in the metal genre, we like to say stuff like that, but the whole idea behind these songs is way deeper and more emotional than you might think at first. But I think that one thing that made this record even better than it actually is already by now is they did an audiobook. So they took some German speaker or audiobook reader, let's call him that way, and they just came up with a funny story called Gefangen im Videodrome, where the band members are imprisoned in this weird, seriously fucked up story. They go on tour. In the story they go on tour, and then he tells the story of this band going through the daily routine, less good or more good of band life and touring and stuff. And then they encounter more and more weird things, and it gets weirder by the minute. And at the end, it explodes into this conclusion that that the whole record is just this ominous kind of glare of unknownness, and yet it makes it even more perfect, in my eyes at least. Next in line, we have a record that is maybe their most commercial record to date, and obviously until then their biggest success, named Blitzkreuz, Lightning Cross. That's even though the record was named like that, but they had this symbol going on for quite a while, and it was quite demonstrating, oh, this is CALLEJON. You know, it's like this usual symbols that or writing style that you associate with a band. I mean, Metallica has their way of the logo and writing stuff, and CALLEJON had the Lightning Cross, and this record got very well received in overall charts and stuff. Had another ton of bangers, but then again they went through a bit of an evolution after Videodrome, meaning that the song got a bit more modern. I wouldn't say less heavier, but way more post-ish, like post-hardcore-ish, you know, back to some even named it like an homage to hardcore punk, you know, because it's maybe less metal without losing anything of the metal. I think the easiest is just you go ahead and listen to it, because even that record was still amazing in my opinion. Not as good though as Videodrome, but it pushed the band in the right direction, and was by far their biggest success until then. Then in 2013, so as you see, these people are quite busy. There was like a flow every 2 years. There was something new from CALLEJON, which is in my eyes quite amazing. Even though let's just say metalcore songs tend to seem very easily written, even though in my opinion it's not necessarily true. Some bands definitely do it that way. I think CALLEJON songs are, let's just say, different. There's way more there's way more emotions and the harshness of life in general, and the whole aspect of the fantastical, like they did on Videodrome and Zombie Action Hauptquartier, went away on the Blitzkreuz record. And then with now the one that I'm mentioning now, the 2013 Man spricht Deutsch, an exclusive 13-track cover record of everything that German music has to offer. They took random songs and just covered it in their way. It was very well received, but honestly, I'm not a big fan of these cover records, but that's personal. I mean, I prefer the honesty and the vulnerability behind the CALLEJON's lyrics, especially Basti's vocals, who were obviously, these are cover songs, so they are meant to have fun. That's the first rule here. And I think also with this record they spread the word even more that, oh hey, see, we are also a German band and we like to sing in German and we do some very heavy shit. And just, these are not our songs, these are basically only cover songs. But then again, that's not necessarily my cup of tea. So I think I listened to this record only once or maybe twice, and just like, yeah, it's nice, but not my thing. So I just moved on and listened to the previous stuff. And again, 2 years later, 2015, Wir sind Angst, we are fear, translated. I mean, I think that's maybe my favorite title track for a record. It's just outstandingly dark, and until then, again, even bigger success in the German chart positions and stuff. So again, I mean, I keep saying commercial and stuff, but that's just the way this band works. That doesn't mean that they're bad just because they have commercial success and that they even sell out to some extent. Honestly, if they can do it, be my guest. I mean, you worked your asses off to reach this level, so might as well, right? So again, with Wir sind Angst came the successor from actually Blitzkreuz, and to me, Wir sind Angst is like a more darker version, more refined version of the record Blitzkreuz, with way more experimental sounds going on and actually kind of weird songs. But the more you listen to it, the more you get it. I mean, it just makes sense the way Wir sind Angst is put together. So, but then I think the most controversial one, and let's just say hated record of this band, was the follow-up record. Maybe the most controversial one up to date, for them at least. And in 2017, the record Fandigo dropped. And I'm gonna be honest here, to me, the first singles like Utopia and stuff, yes, it sounded interesting, even less heavier than Blitzkreuz, for example, or even Wir sind Angst. And it took me some time to get into this, and I'm going to say it after I understood the whole concept behind Fandigo. Even though there's not it's not a concept record or anything, but the whole put together of this record, to this day, honestly, it brings me the same listening experience and joy that Videodrome did back in the day. Even though some might call it, this is not metalcore anymore. This is not even metal anymore. It's just like basic alternative rock, which is not true, to be fair. Some called it popcore because it's not popcorn, to be clear here. But the pop elements took a bit over. Honestly, I get it why people got a bit upset with that, but I really like the way that they were going through. They just said, or they just thought, basically, well, let's just do it. This is what we want to do. And this is the sound that we came up with, and it makes total sense. So for me, Fandigo is probably the most underrated record, even, I'm gonna say it, the most underrated metal record of 2017, period, you know. So, so much for that. But I think that got them a bit of a backdrop to, where do we go from here? And again, 2 years later, another cover record dropped. Again, I'm gonna be honest, Hartgeld im Club is the name. It had quite a big of success, but it's not my cup of tea. So it really passed through me, and it was like, okay, let them have fun. This is not my thing. I'll just wait for the next actual record, which is fine by me. And now I'm gonna do basically the 2 last records that came out in 2020. Obviously a bad year, as we all know. Shitty year for everyone. And the 2022 release, I'm gonna try to combine them, because for me, those records, Metropolis and Eternia, are basically, at least to me, they sound as they were constructed, composed even, and lyrically they could basically form one super big record. They go hand in hand, sound pretty good, but also sound pretty much the same to me. But at least these records show that this band has seriously gone through some huge development and evolution. I think the sound that they created on Metropolis and Eternia is by far the most modern metal sound that you can achieve, or at least that you can achieve for this kind of music. And I really look forward to what this band will do next, because again, they are working horses. They've been releasing every 2 years or 3 years max. But yeah, now for the bad news, because we are not here today only to praise them. Obviously there's some stuff going on there. And in recent news, CALLEJON announced that 3 of their long-time band members would be leaving CALLEJON. And that got me, honestly, a bit upset, emotional, and yet more intrigued for what's to come. Because let's be honest, the metal world is filled with amazing bands, and you cannot always keep up with everybody. And when I read that CALLEJON is not that was posted by Basti, the singer vocalist of CALLEJON. Far from that, CALLEJON will continue. Songs are already on the way for the new record. So I'm seriously looking forward to how this band will evolve, because I think they are super underrated. Some hate them, some like them. I think they have a very, very loyal fan base, especially in Germany, which makes sense, obviously. And I really hope to see these guys continue and basically do what they want, because I think that's the message behind CALLEJON and the band name again, Dead End. I mean, it just shows. You reach a dead end, you just turn around, you know, and you continue no matter what you have to do. And I think that's the message behind CALLEJON, and to me, one of the best bands I've ever encountered, especially singing in German. And I really hope that you guys out there give these guys a chance, because I'm sure many of you have no clue who I'm talking about. Anyway, I will put everything in the links and everything below. And that's it for today. One more Uncovered episode down, more to go. So thanks for tuning in, and hear you very soon. Cheers!